What is going on, Swoopers? Welcome back to another episode of Swoop Luke. In this episode, we'll be previewing the Collingwood-Brisbane Lions Easter Thursday game. Let's get into it. So, tomorrow, Collingwood take on the Brisbane Lions up at the Gabba for our annual Easter Thursday clash. And it is going to be an interesting game. The Lions absolutely pulled our pants down the last time we played them. I think it was the second last round of the season, and they beat us by 84 or something points. That's when we had just given up, and there was really no hope left. Seeing Buckley and Harvey's tenure out as well. So new look Collingwood. Brisbane are still like one of the teams to beat. I think they're sitting second at the moment. They're 3-1, I'm pretty sure. So it is a very, very, very big test, and it's on par with the Geelong game. And coincidentally enough, Geelong played Brisbane last week. Brisbane lost by 10 points, and obviously Geelong won. A little bit to take out of that game that we'll go into next. One of the things that I want to mention is that looking at the stats and watching the game, Brisbane got monstered in the ruck by Blixarves and Reece Stanley. Now, they only had Darcy Fort in the ruck there. So, it's kind of telling me that, against two ruckmen, Brisbane last week just couldn't really do it. They were down on clearances. They were way down on their season average and stuff like that. Brodie Grundy, and if it's Cameron, if it's Cox, I think we might have a chance to get a big centre dominance, and we've got a bunch of clearance machines down there. We got Scott Pendlebury, who will probably push into the middle a little bit more than staying on the half-back line. Crisp, if he goes into there. Maynard, although not a clearance machine, because we don't really know him in the midfield, he could go in the midfield there. We saw him get glimpses of it last week where he would run up, kick a couple of goals, a couple of score assists as well. So you can see that he has a taste of those midfield minutes. Taylor Adams is back. Jordan Ngoe will probably play a lot more time in the forward line now that Jamie Elliott's down, but he will push into that midfield. So we've got a couple of big bodies in there that will get those centre clearances. It's all about Brodie's connection to our mids, and that's been a problem for God knows how long. If Grundy can get on top of Darcy Fort, it'll go a long way into hopefully winning this game. And then you had your usual users of the ball. Daniel Rich, Jared Lyons, Lachie Neale, all played really good games. Lyons cleaned us up last time. Daniel Rich had over 750 metres gained against Geelong last week. So if you shut him down, you're shutting their run off half back. And that's something that hopefully, well, the coaches are going to know this, but hopefully it comes to fruition on Thursday night. Now, looking at the Collingwood side of things, yes, we had that devastating loss to West Coast where we should have won. We had way more scoring shots, way more inside 50s, a lot of tackling pressure, which I absolutely loved, and I'll highlight that in the preview. But it's going to be not a new look Collingwood side, a different look Collingwood side, because all of our outs, and we're going to be bringing a bunch of players in. So let's talk about our outs. Jamie Elliott is out for a couple of months with that AC joint injury in his shoulder. Brody Mychek is out under COVID protocols because he is a close contact. Jack Ginnivan is also out, pulled up sore from last week's game, and the quick turnaround won't see him play. But with those three outs, and they're pretty big outs, we bring in a bunch of A-graders again. So Jordan Ngoe comes back after his 1 week suspension. Taylor Adams comes back after that week off with COVID, and we absolutely missed his grunt last week, straight in the middle. You have to go in, you have Adams in the middle, absolutely smashing those West Coast midfielders. We probably win that game, not by a lot, but it probably tilts the scales a little bit. We welcome back Nathan Kruger, who's been confirmed by Craig McRae on the radio today, to come back and play against Brisbane. So he's another forward, probably takes Mychek's spot. And that's the three guys that we know of. Who else can we bring in? Are we going to see another debutant, maybe a smaller sort of forward type? There's been talks on social media about Cooper Murley coming in, a guy that we picked up last year from South Australia in the draft. Do we bring in Cox and go a three-pronged tall attack? Because Darcy Cameron probably stays in, as much as I said this in my review of the West Coast game, I don't mind him, but I think that we got to start not punishing players, but we got to start saying if you're missing set shots from 15 out, if you're smashing into teammates or whatever it may be, you can't be rewarded for shitty efforts. And would have loved to have seen Cox come in for him, because Cox played really well in the VFL of the week before. But with my check out, Cameron probably stays. Can we afford Cox, Kruger, and Cameron all in the same team? I don't really know. I also forgot to mention that Jordan Roughhead is in as well. So that's 4 players that we know will be in. So it's going to be a different look Collingwood. I don't see many wholesale changes, bar, obviously those 3 injuries and then maybe 1 or 2 coming out. But that would mean 5 players go in. And that kind of disrupts the team, I would think. So many changes. But expect to see at least 4 or 5 changes, I do think. The thing is, we'll be playing Brisbane at their home ground when they didn't get the rub of the green from the umpires last week, with a couple of pushing the backs, and they only lost to Geelong by 10 points. So they'll be out to prove a point, and against a Collingwood team that is still learning the ropes, still learning this game plan. And like I said in the review, we're going to have some devastating losses, and we're going to have some really good wins. So I'm actually going to do something that I don't really do, and I don't think I've ever done this on a Swoop Luke video, and I will fight tooth and nail to say we're going to win every single game that we play. But you know what? I think Brisbane are going to beat us on Thursday, and I don't say that, and it hurts to say. In 3 years, I've never said another team will beat us. I don't think. But let me tell you why I'm saying that Brisbane are going to beat us. Because, like I said, we have to expect these sort of losses against really good sides. But the loss that I want to have is like kind of like the Geelong loss, where, okay, we kicked 9 goals in and we dropped a 30-point lead. That's not the loss I'm talking about. But it's a learning loss. And all these losses are going to be learning ones. The West Coast one, we need to learn how to kick straight, right? We win that game. We should be 4-0. But this Brisbane game is going to show us the best of the best. And I think I predicted a Brisbane-Melbourne grand final. So we could be versing a premiership side, or we could be versing a grand final or deep into the final side. So this is going to see a lot of where the boys are and where our game plan stacks up to the best of the best. And the same thing is going to happen when we verse Melbourne in Queen's birthday in a few weeks' time. What I would just love to see from the Pies this week is just reward for effort. We won nearly every major stat last week against the West Coast Eagles, and we won a lot of the stats against Geelong. It was just that inaccuracy that was killing us. I don't want to go into this game against Brisbane and then come out of it plus 20 in inside 50s and we lose the game by 30 points because we just can't kick straight. There's only so many excuses that you can say for inaccuracy costing you games, and if it costs us another game, it's just you're paid to kick goals. But I'm not a fortune teller, or I can't see into the future, so I don't know if that's going to happen. But my gut tells me that we might come out of this game again like Geelong and again like the Eagles, where we just can't kick a winning score because we're so inaccurate. But the biggest thing I want to see is a fourth quarter effort. In the last 3 rounds since the Adelaide game, our last quarters, we've produced 2 goals, 8 behinds. I just want to see us kick goals in the last quarter, because it seems to be frantic, chaos, running, attacking, and I love that. I absolutely love it. But we peter out in that last quarter. We saw it against Geelong. Again, we saw it against the Eagles. So we need to just show that we can sustain this football for 4 quarters, even if it means preserving energy in the third, or preserving a little bit of energy towards the end of the second quarter, going into halftime, rejuvenating for the third, and then hitting it hard in the fourth. Something like that, because we can't just be putting up another goalless last quarter, or a quarter where we've scored just 1 goal when we're trying to win the game. I do hope it's a very close game, but I know that it will be a learning game for us. So if we do lose, it's just going to be, a learning game. And that's okay. It's a learning year. Those first 2 wins were absolutely amazing. And yes, we should be 4-0 if we kick straight. But don't forget, it is a learning year. We're still learning the coach's game plans. It's a whole new system. It's a whole new coaching panel. We will be okay, no matter the losses. And when these losses hurt, it's just going to make the wins even sweeter. But anyway, Swoopers, let me know your thoughts down below. And until next time, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets. And until next time, double shackers, I'll swoop you later. And we got a bunch of clear Jordan to go when he's probably, if we could. Daniel Rich had over 750 meters gained against Brisbane. Our last 3 rounds in the 3 last, he is just their running machine. You study. Fucking hell! What is going on?